We're so excited to be able to restore the mansion's original front porch and the original orientation towards Jackson Street. We have what's new though, and very exciting, is that for the first time the building is ADA compliant. That means that everyone can come and enjoy the mansion. We have walkways coming up from Jackson Street, a functioning elevator, and ADA compliant bathrooms. It's so important that this mansion is accessible to everyone. Here on our front yard, still in progress, we've opened up the building to the front of Springfield so that people can drive by and see their great governor's mansion, the People's House, from the street. Very excited to have this beautiful front portico and the replication of the original front doors made by a craftsman in El Paso, Illinois, and to have a functioning porch and an elegant staircase, which is really the way that people used to come and enter this building back in 1855. In the main part of the house that dates from 1855, we didn't have to change very much because the layout, the size, and the proportion of the rooms was really quite beautiful. One of the biggest changes, which is very exciting, is that we took down the shutters and the heavy curtains around all the windows. So now the light just naturally comes in and the rooms just look so much lighter and more beautiful. We cleaned up the wallpaper and the paintings, put down new carpets, cleaned the chandeliers, and rearranged the furniture. But really the most important work we did here was about making this building safe and sound for the third century of our state. We replaced all the windows. This is now shooting for a LEED certified building. We repaired, of course, the roof and all of the wiring and plaster and all of the internal functions of the building so that it's safe and sound and the building itself is solid going forward. So this is the state dining room, which is used, of course, for very important events, but it's also a nice space to be able to use to display art. And this is where the Art of Illinois exhibit will be held, as well as across the main spaces. What we were able to do here was to clean up, lighten, and brighten the space with new lighting fixtures, with rewired and cleaned chandeliers, and with new walls and new carpet. So this is my favorite room. These are the rooms that celebrate the world's Columbian Exposition. And so the rooms are decorated in the style of, with William Morris wallpaper and in the style of 1893. Also here in the rooms are materials from the World Columbian Exposition and this fabulous set of furniture that was carved by a craftsman in Carthage, Illinois in the 1880s and 1890s and was displayed at the Illinois Pavilion of the World's Columbian Exposition. The story is that Queen Victoria saw it and asked to buy the set for $1 million and was turned down. Who knows if that's true or not, but what we do know is that these pieces of furniture have been on display at the mansion since the 80s, but there was never really a story, and no one really could tell the story of why they were so important. But what they are is very, very concrete mementos of the World's Columbian Exposition. And here in the bedroom associated with the World's Columbian Exposition, we have some material, some maps and pictures from the World's Columbian Exposition, and of course more of this unbelievably beautiful furniture that was carved, hand carved by a craftsman in Carthage. One of the great things about a house museum is that it's a chance for children to see how history comes alive by being in a space that's really different from the space that you're in your regular day. So this room is kind of, it always feels very unusual. The carpets are dark, the wood is dark. It's not the way we live today. Even the furniture is lower and shorter. But it reminds us, that people, not that long ago, people used to live differently. The world was different. This we call the Civil War suite, and it is decorated in the style of the Civil War, mid-Victorian time. We put up maps and other artifacts about that time. And I just think this is a way where a school child can come into a room like this and think, what did people live like? What was life like in this time? And that perhaps starts to make her interested in history. I think history comes alive in spaces and in buildings, and it's so nice to see a space restored to a time that's very different. This room is our Lincoln suite. It's full of memorabilia from Lincoln's time. We have a life mask of Lincoln and Lincoln's punch bowl, the family punch bowl, and a fabulous table that was made in celebration of Lincoln's inauguration. The fixtures and the furnishings, again, are representative of the Victorian era, the mid-Victorian era, around the time of Abraham Lincoln. One of the things that is always so interesting is these chairs are very, very low. These are traditional Victorian chairs with horsehair seats, and they're very, very low. When you sit down on them, you realize how low they are, and that's because back in those days, women had very big bustles, very big skirts, and so they needed to have low chairs so that they could actually sit down. Again, those are the kinds of things that when people learn about them, that's what makes you start to think about history and how the world was different in those times. It's the official Lincoln room, although how much of it really belonged to Lincoln, we don't really know. But what we do know is that this room was a mess when we moved in. The ceiling was coming down, the wallpaper was peeling off. As across the house, it was really had been so badly taken care of that it was falling apart. And now, of course, it's a beautiful room, again, reflecting the time in which the building was built and a chance to celebrate and enjoy Lincoln era artifacts and some important experiences of how people lived at that time.